Hi there, namaste, and welcome back to another spiritualistic pick a card reading. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as today we take a look at your divine blueprint, where we are unlocking your unique spiritual purpose. Please take a deep breath, drawing the energy up your spine, creating a clear and open channel. As you exhale, come into clear knowing which group or groups has your message in it for you today. We have group 1 on the left with Blessing Magnet, group 2 in the center with Source Energy, and group 3 on the right with Lead by Example. As always, the timestamps are listed below in the description box. They're at the very end. If you would like to join my virtual meditation retreat, that is the first link in the description box below. I highly recommend you take advantage of that resource. If you would like to book a one-on-one personal reading with me, I do have those open right now on my Etsy shop. I have a whole spiritual store there if you are interested, so definitely check that out if you would like to work with me or if you would like some clarity on a particular aspect of life. With that said, I'm so grateful that you are here with me today. If you are interested in exclusive content, I have so many other pick a card readings behind the paywall here on YouTube members. It's my little inner circle channel. It's only $5 a month. Those are almost all channeled messages. I also have a separate one on Patreon so that you can get exactly what it is that you need. These are going to be, of course, a lot of pick a card readings. These are also going to be the more grounded ones. So this is where you will find your career advice, your 7 chakra check-in. This will be where you will find what next step can I make. Energies like this, more grounded, tactical pick a card readings are on my Patreon. And if you would like to join for $1 extra on my Patreon, you can also join my book club. Right now, we are reading The Dark Side of the Light Chasers by Debbie Ford. So, with that being said, I would love to see you on any of the platforms. I love to connect with you. All of my information is in the description box below. For example, if you'd like to write me a little letter, send it to my P.O. box. I love when you do this. You can also buy me a coffee or send a donation, write a little note, send me an Amazon package if that's something that you resonate with. And above all, it would mean the most to me if you would subscribe, share the video, like, drop a comment, and of course subscribe across platforms. I am posting on TikTok as well as on Instagram. So if you'd like to join the TikTok family, I also have a subscriber page over there. You're more than welcome to join. Each place has different messages, so you're able to seriously pick whatever resonates with you the most. I post content on astrology, on tarot, on meditation, on Reiki, on everything. So you can pick exactly what it is that serves you without collecting all of it if that's not what serves you. And you also have access to everything, so you don't need to look far for everything. My job is to be a resource for you and give you love and light and a higher perspective, and that is what I'm here to do. So thank you so much for being here as we take a look at your unique spiritual purpose and your divine blueprint. I'll see you over at your reading. Namaste. Hi there, group 1. Namaste and welcome to your reading. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Today, we are taking a look at your divine blueprint, unlocking your spiritual purpose. You selected the first group with Blessing Magnet. Group number 1. You are very lucky. You might not always feel this way, and I'm picking up on some energies here, so let me explain. You are a good luck charm to everyone around you, and you are also quite lucky yourself. In fact, this is why you are a good luck charm to everyone else. You are a blessing magnet. With that being said, I know a lot of you are sitting here listening to this. I know that this resonates, but why don't I feel like it right now? Why haven't I felt like it lately? Now, it's almost like this is your baseline. But sometimes there will be a person who comes in and they want to intercept all your blessings. Maybe it's on purpose, maybe it's not. A big part of this is I'm being shown a spiritual, like, warrior kind of energy. But ultimately, this energy is one of you strengthening. So part of your divine blueprint is going to involve strengthening your energy. Not that your energy is weak. In fact, it's not. at all. And that is the point. It's very, very strong, but also with great power comes great responsibility, not just by you, but by others. And obviously you cannot make other people be responsible or hold themselves accountable. And for that reason, you need to be extra protective about your energy. You will find that you absolutely cannot give in to what somebody wants you to do if they are in any way, shape, or form even bullying you in the slightest, lightest definition of the term. You will find as well that you are very, very lucky. People seem to really just get it together when you are in their life. They all of a sudden, they have blessings, they have opportunities, their life gets easier, their mental health increases, they get happier, their spiritual gifts come online, things really start to work for them. Maybe they blow up on social media or they get an advancement in their career. And it's so interesting because it will always be that that is what path you were on until they came into your life. You're a good luck charm for them. And now let me say this. You are not, your energy is not inherently one that others can easily take, but you might be highly empathic. And if you don't resonate with that, I'm also being shown that because you are a blessing to others, when you give love to others, you give love to others in the way that they need it, or you're able to help others evolve. But when energy evolves, if it's not transmuting, keyword here, okay, if it's not transmuting, this energy will look for somewhere to reallocate, redistribute, relocate. And so as we take a look at your divine blueprint, we will find a story like this coming through. And as we take a look at your spiritual purpose that we're unlocking today, you're going to find that in some way it is connected to redistribution, reallocation, as well as perhaps transmutation, but this might not feel like it's your purpose. It might feel a little bit more like it is a gift that you have, but you're also aware that when you transmute darkness into light, it does not mean that there will be less darkness in the world or in the universe. It simply means that those particles have been transmuted to light. Now you can also neutralize energy. This is also a form of transmutation that is less commonly talked about. Instead of turning darkness into light, you can turn light or darkness into neutrality outside of the dualistic system, which requires a high level of consciousness. And so you will find that part of your spiritual purpose looks like, well, reallocating, redistributing, and also neutralizing energies around you. But the energies within you deserve to be fiercely protected, because this is a very, very strong spiritual gift. And part of the blueprint, part of the lesson, part of the story that you must walk in order to fully realize this will have something to do with, well, there's light and there's dark, but everything has its own place. Everything has a place where it belongs, otherwise it would not exist. Everything is universally intentional, otherwise it would not exist. And this is not to say we cannot play with energy. This is not to say we cannot change situations in our life. This is not to say that we cannot right wrongs or fight injustice. In fact, it's actually quite the opposite. Instead of taking something negative and turning it to light, this implies, well, now there is more light, but the light to dark ratio must always mathematically be the same. Therefore, there is a level of discernment between where do you take darkness and turn it into light, and where do you take darkness and neutralize it. But in doing so, again, this ratio must remain the same, of dark to light. Looking at that, if you neutralize dark, there must also be light that you are able to neutralize. And so this has you looking at the good, looking at the bad, and going from being a magnet for other people's crap, while you are being a blessing in their life. It seems to be that people come around, and as soon as you arrive in their life, they get really, really lucky. And you are spiritually enlightened, you are highly conscious, you have spiritual gifts and abilities, you are connected with your light, you're connected with your dark, you feel comfortable in both and outside of both. You are a blessing magnet. However, other people love to make sure that they are on your magnet. I'm being shown a magnet that's really, really strong. And so if there's something already stuck to the magnet, other things can still get magnetized to it. But they will not touch the magnet. They will touch whatever it is that is gluing itself to your side. So let's take a look at this. We'll take a look at your divine blueprint and the spiritual purpose here. Group number 1, I'm getting that it's very important for you to constantly either say affirmations, do whatever it is, to make sure that you are staying confident as possible. And I'm also getting that you might feel most comfortable alone, or you find that you have the most success when you are alone. Now, I also want to make sure that I'm also sending the message that's coming through alongside this, which is that this does not mean that you're better off alone. It simply means that you do deserve to be around people who are able to reciprocate the kind of energy that you're in, meaning that they are their own blessing magnet and you are your own blessing magnet. Therefore, let's use like ionic particles here. If you are positively charged and they are positively charged, you're not going to stick together. If you are negatively charged and they are negatively charged, they're not going to stick together. Now, a lot of you are thinking, but what about my perfect match? Or what about that which is equal but opposite to me, right? What about the light and the dark? Exactly. There is also this awareness of this is where that spiritual gift and also discernment can come in handy, because you can surround yourself with truths, vibes, objects, and situations that meet that requirement. In fact, you have, but I'm getting that they're not necessarily the first place you might think to look. Like, it might be animals, it might be plants, it might be children, it might be people that are around you, and you just haven't really put two and two together yet in this way, okay? So it's not existing in whatever paradigm you're looking for this in, whatever area of life that might be. Now, the divine blueprint here for you. Now, I'm noticing here that you would have had a very rough start to life and eventually become extremely abundant and comfortable with a lot of people around you that love you and are not going anywhere. Now, with that, you also have awareness, clarity, and truth that these people and others do not have. And because of this, you also are very firm in your discernment and your decisions. Now, with that being said, it makes a lot of people want to be around you because they know that whatever it is that you are doing, that is exactly what they should be doing too, or there's a reason for it. You seem to have clarity that nobody else does. You seem to not be, let's say, burdened by the obstacles that other people are burdened with. And you might be looking around at your life saying, that's weird because I sure have a lot of really unique, weird obstacles that I don't see anybody else dealing with that seems like they were created specially just for me, right? And part of this is actually because you have absorbed energy from people, or people have projected energy onto you, consciously or unconsciously, that you are now neutralizing or transmuting or walking through, but it wasn't yours to begin with. And you know this. You can trace back when those symptoms started. You can trace back when everything was flowing really well, and then that hiccup started happening. Then your drain stopped draining. And also, while your drain stopped draining, it was harder for you to move. Interesting that you got fatigue and your body would not take action and your brain wasn't working and your drain stopped. That's so weird. It coincides with exactly when someone came into your life. It's something like this. And you have the clarity here, but you're also taking the correct, appropriate actions. You are also not backing down with this clarity. So the blueprint here is essentially, you know what's going on miles ahead or kilometers ahead. You know exactly what's going on in your life, in the grand scheme of things, universally, in the time of your generation and 5 generations after. And you're planning accordingly and you're acting accordingly. But as you are walking this very aligned path, you also find that people come along for the ride. This does not throw you off your path at all whatsoever, but it might give you a limp. It might give you a hiccup. It might shorten your food rations a little bit because now you have to share. Or maybe they're just a little bit gluttonous or greedy. With that, you are coming into recognition, and this is really important here. You're coming into recognition that you are a blessing magnet, not just for others, but for yourself. But you are also aware, because you've lived this life, you've grown spiritually, you have evolved, you have matured emotionally and mentally and physically. You are also aware of the truth that abundance and happiness is best shared. Therefore, there is a part of you that is ready, willing, and able to accept these things. Small compromises, not big ones. Not compromises that feel like they're throwing you off your path, even though they're not. Not compromises that make it so you can't keep a roof over your head. Not compromises that make your spirituality feel like a horror movie instead of rainbows and butterflies. And that's not to say we're not supposed to do our shadow work, but you know what I'm talking about. And this is not to say as well that you do not get to experience life in the way that it was made for you. Genuinely lucky if you go with the flow and do what it is that you want. As you take steps towards this and you learn and are aware of this truth, this makes you unstoppable and also puts you in a position of power. You are also aware that in order for this to be the case, it implies other people being around. Which means that a big part of this blueprint for you is taking a look at the dynamic between you and others and really perfecting that. You will find that in the area of interpersonal relationships, whether it's at work, whether it's romantic, whether it's with family, whether it's with friends, whether it's with coworkers or peers, you have, let's say, a higher caliber of requirements from the divine, it might feel like, than those around you. Now, this is not an accident. It is because you ending up where you're meant to end up, your spiritual purpose implies other people being around. And this is something that must be perfected both on a solo journey by yourself. Beauty, kindness, reverence, but this is not softness. These are different things. So, your spiritual purpose is centered around your beauty, internally and externally. Now, the universe is not superficial. That doesn't mean that people are not. This is a tool that you have. Use it accordingly. Now, part of your spiritual purpose is using this in order to enact, well, I'm getting divine judgment. And I'm very cautious when I say this because this is your spiritual purpose, which means that it comes from the divine through you. It doesn't come from you through you. Judgment, divine judgment is not made through you. You are not meant to decide other people's karma. You are, however, meant to accept this challenge and opportunity that you are put around those who will not budge around anything except for you. That which is lucky, that which is beautiful, that which sees the blind spot, the sweet spot, the soft spot, the weak spot. Now, the spiritual purpose here is that you're a lover of others, but you're also a softener of others. You might find oftentimes that you soften the heart of those hearts that have turned hard. You might find that you show people strength in ways that they didn't realize people could have strength. And for you, it's just another Tuesday. Now, a big part of this, your challenge and your opportunity here, is the fact that, let's say, people are more likely to give into the demands of, let's say, someone that they find really, really attractive and sweet and cute and pretty, than they are someone that they don't feel, and this is superficial, than someone that they don't feel this way around, just very generally speaking. But when we take that energy inwardly, because you exude this energy both internally and externally, here is your spiritual purpose. Well, a part of it. You're very beautiful on the inside. And when people find someone who's kind and loving and generous and grateful and unconditionally loving, oftentimes, again, generally speaking, people will take advantage of this. They will see it as naive instead of wise, what it truly is. And again, you are not so naive as to think that your mind cannot be opened. And this is exactly the defining factor of your the rift that you have in other people's lives. Your spiritual purpose here is one of love, but you also tend to, I'm getting an energy that is almost, I don't want to say Jupiter necessarily, but it starts with a bang and it changes people's lives, and then it's consistent. So people kind of tend to see you as a go-getter, a hard worker, someone with spurts of energy. But for you, again, it's just another Tuesday. Your spiritual purpose is less about what you do, and it's more about you just being yourself as you walk through this life. Now, a lot of people, their spiritual purpose, it will be to learn, or it will be to teach, or it will be to evolve. For you, it is simply to be yourself. And this is a very interesting one here, because the way that you are transformational and beautiful to others, the way that you are strong to others, for you, again, it's just another day. And so you will find yourself being the luckiest of lucky. And at the same time, you will also find yourself maybe sometimes absorbing or working through on their behalf the absolute nastiest, most difficult burdens and challenges that weren't even yours to begin with. And a part of this is out of still strengthening. A part of this is out of kindness and love. A part of this is also you coming to realize what is fair and what is not. Now, we go back to the beginning of this message. Light and dark are always intentionally placed, intentionally being by the universe. There is dark, there is light, there will always be the same ratio of dark to light. We can play around, we can make colors, we can refract, we can transmute, we can neutralize, but there will always be the same. There will always be a place where every single particle of energy belongs, light or dark. There will always be a place where darkness belongs and where light belongs, and we can play around with it, we can move it, we can shift it, we can change it. But in this realm, at the end of the day, it is intentional. Again, it can be moved. It can be moved from them to you, but it's not going to go away. And this is almost kind of giving a remember your return to sender energy here. A lot of you might not like that, because a lot of you might think, well, I can just transmute it, or I can just change it into usable energy. I can take this potential energy, move it into kinetic energy. Oh, thanks for the energetic boost. Thanks for a little bit of extra in my power bank. I don't care what it looks like. But that's not truly how it works. This is why things have a ripple effect. Now, I'm not going to get into it with you with the nuances here, because people have different beliefs, and that's totally okay. But what we're looking at here is your spiritual purpose being one of you simply being the soul that you are in the body that you're in. I know, very simple, but at the same time, it's not simple, because the witnessing of you is enough to change someone's life, like a catalyst. But for you, it's just another Tuesday. You are a blessing magnet for yourself and for others. And so your job, if you would like, pick all of the things off of you being the magnet, pick all of the things off of the magnet, and see what is secondary. See what's trying to magnetize to you, but it can't because it's being intercepted. You will find here peace of mind, you will find here liberation, you will find here opportunity. And for those of you who are curious about the integrity, I'm being shown Jean Valjean from Les Mis. Now, there's one ideology that you might be in here about, is it wrong to steal a loaf of bread if you are feeding starving families? Well, that's a moral issue. That's a debate. People can have different opinions on that. But if someone comes into your house and they try to steal a piece of your jewelry, now they're still in your house and they still have the jewelry in their pocket. Now, what is the moral issue of you saying, hey, give me my jewelry? Or not even telling them, not asking them, simply reaching into their pocket and taking the jewelry back for yourself, putting it back where it belongs, cleansing it, clearing it, charging it, protecting it, and then sending them on their way. Or teaching them a lesson, monitoring them a bit more closely, loving them a bit more deeply, whatever it is that you have to do or you feel is right in the moment. Either way, it's yours. So do with that as you will, what you will. Do with that what you will. Your spiritual purpose here is to be a catalyst. You shake things up. You are, I've heard the phrase a walking tower moment, but you're a little bit more like a walking hanged man. People come into contact with you and it opens their consciousness, it opens their mind, it opens their third eye. And this can create frustration, delusion, it can create paranoia, it can create spiritual narcissism. I remember someone who was like, I'm hanging out with you even though my mom says you're a witch, and that's bad because they're like really like fundamental Christians or whatever. And they're like, yeah, but we've been friends forever and I just found this religion and I know that like you're bad, but also I've been having these really interesting spiritual gifts and I don't know what they are and you're the only person I can ask for help. And so I spent, oh my gosh, at least a week sitting with this person, this feeling with this sign, with this, along with you, like helping them understand their intuitive gifts and their signs and what it means for them and how they can intuit it. And then it's wonderful, magical. They loved it. And they were just beginning. I taught them about crystals, how you can feel energy with your hands. And then they turn around, do you know what a Heyoka empath is? It's the strongest empath of all. I think that I'm the strongest in the whole world. Ah! Like enter supervillain energy like immediately. And I was like, wow, that was fast. And then they turned around and they were like, Jesus will save you. And I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, you might find, normally I wouldn't share things like this, but it's very much, maybe on my Patreon, but not here. Okay, but normally you will find situations that are kind of like this. Good, bad, weird, right? You have the power to change someone's life just by being yourself. And you're not out here like trying to. You're not out here like gassing yourself up like, oh, I'll change your life. Come over here, like, give me a shot. Like, no, like it's, you are a blessing magnet for others. You are a blessing to others, but you're a blessing magnet for yourself. The blessings that come to you are for you and you alone. And the fact that you are using these blessings and observing these blessings and receiving these blessings and loving your life through these blessings and then going about your everyday life being who you are on the inside and the outside, just giving love, being consistent, being strong, knowing right from wrong, having that access to truth, this changes people's lives just by you being yourself. The thing is, again, for you, it's just a regular Tuesday, so you stay consistent, and other people might not be able to keep up. Some of them can, some of them might crash out, okay, in a good way or a bad way or a weird way. And honestly, your spiritual purpose here, it is to simply be yourself, and it is to love. It is also a big consciousness energy, more of a spiritual gift energy, because you're aware that there's light and there's dark, and that without those things we wouldn't be in this realm. And you can do something about it, but then you won't be in this realm. And you are in this realm, so there will be these things. And again, we can move it, shake it, shift it around, right? You can, what's a good example? You can move your couch around your house. You can put it wherever you want it to be, but there will still be a couch in your house. And you can even get rid of that couch. You'll bring it outside to a dumpster or whatever, donate it, sell it, repurpose it, whatever, but it will still be a couch. It might be a couch in someone else's house, but it'll still be a couch. And maybe you get rid of that couch and you get a new one. There will still be a couch in your house, no matter where you put it. It was a couch before it was in the store. After it was made, it was a couch. And then it was in the store, but it was still a couch. And then it was in your house, and it was still a couch. And you moved it around, and it was still a couch. And you moved it somewhere else, and it was still a couch. All of this to say, you can change energy, but that doesn't change the principle of the material universe. It doesn't change the laws of energy, the laws of physics. It doesn't change. And your awareness, your clarity, and your consciousness, also your ability to play around with these energies, your ability to transmute, meaning change to light, and to transmute, meaning neutralize, also is the awareness, oh, everything has a place where it belongs, so why don't I put it there instead of holding on to it for other people? And when you do that, you find blessings coming into your life. Hi, orange, okay. You find blessings coming into your life because you find that on your magnet are opportunists. And there's nothing wrong with being positive and looking for opportunities, right? There's a moral debate about Robin Hood or Jean Valjean from Les Mis, the loaf of bread example I gave earlier. But if someone's in your house and they steal jewelry from you, and they're still in your house and they're your friend, and you know they have your jewelry, and you take your jewelry back, there's not a moral debate there. Like, they did something wrong, they took something that was yours, and they still have it, and they're around you because maybe if they're around you long enough, they can take something, or maybe they're just trying to see what it is that you'll do because you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful inside and out. Is that kindness naivety? Is that beauty something I can attain, acquire, capture? Is it something I can worship? You'll get weirdos, right? Weirdos in a good way, weirdos in a bad way. Your spiritual purpose is to simply be yourself, know what you know, and act like it. All while still being the love that you are on the inside and the outside, and also watching everyone else not be this, and not do this, and not have this clarity, and come to you like running around crazy like a chicken with her head cut off. I'm just being shown someone else's lack of competency does not constitute an emergency on your part. Someone else's lack of accountability does not constitute you needing to solve all their problems for them. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let someone else experience the consequences of their actions or of their energy. And again, that is not judgment from you. It's not by you. It's judgment from the divine, judgment from the universe that comes through you, meaning that you are not enacting these things. You're not, ha ha ha, I'll tell you, I'll show you. It's that you simply won't be able to sit down in that energy. It's not a moral thing. It's not a right or wrong thing. It's not a mental thing. It's not my intuition told me that you're bad, so I'm not gonna. No, it's not ego. It's simply you find that you're not able to sit in that energy until something changes. Then you sit in it, and it's beautiful, wonderful, magical, right? I'm sorry, I'm not going to be friends with someone who steals my nicest jewelry from me every time that I have them over in my house. I'm going to stop inviting them into my house. But that doesn't mean that I don't want them to be my friend. It doesn't mean that I can't hang out with them. Maybe I'll take them to a public park and we can go hiking and we can talk about it. Right? But that is not going to be them being in my room where I have my valuables. Might be cutting them off. Might be talking to them about it. It might be being friends with them after they solved this problem. When you take the things off of your magnet and look at the things that are once removed from you, now these are things stuck on your magnet. You're not going around like siphoning energies from others like they're doing to you. What you're doing is looking at all of the things that are stuck to your magnet and seeing what it is that they have caught while being attached to you. Cleanse that energy out and claim what is yours. Now also, learn to protect it fiercely. Because the divine is trying to protect you fiercely. And you're also a blessing magnet. You don't have these limitations that other people have. People see this. That's why they see you as a shortcut. And that's why you have the clarity. Well, it's so weird. This is supposed to be happening and it's not. Or it's so weird. This isn't in the plan, it's happening. Oh, it's so weird. After I started hanging out with this person, my finances totally stopped. Oh, it's so weird. After I hung out with this person, I got really, really sick. Okay, it's not a coincidence. You know it's not a coincidence. You also don't need to carry that because it wasn't yours. There will always be dark. There will always be light. And sometimes there will be eclipses. That doesn't mean that the sun or the moon go anywhere. Like, they're not leaving. They're just eclipsing. So work through that energy and maybe take a look at eclipses, past, maybe present when you see this, or future. Keep an eye out. See what's going on there. Who is trying to eclipse you? Or what is trying to eclipse you? Because you are powerful change, much like that of an eclipse. Sometimes eclipses change people's lives for the better, and sometimes they absolutely start shit shows. That it's not the eclipse's fault. It's doing what it's always done and what it always will do. Much like you. That is your spiritual purpose. Group number 1, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you would like a personal, those are on Etsy. I have a whole spiritual shop there you can check out, okay, with journals, books, crystals, candles, merch, my tarot and oracle decks as well. So definitely check those out. If you are continuing on from here, you can pick out another pile or another reading. I do have an exclusive content channel here on YouTube. It's all channeled messages. On TikTok, those are all collective messages. And on Patreon, those are pick a card readings. So you can find all of those. All 3 of those are exclusive content channels. You can also subscribe to my public Patreon, my public TikTok, and my public Instagram, all at Spiritualistik, of course. If you are interested in my meditation retreat, I highly recommend taking advantage of that resource. It's the first link in the description box below. I'd love to see you there. And have an amazing day, week, month, year, incarnation in this beautiful magical realm, and I will see you next time. Namaste. Hi, Group 2. Namaste, and welcome to your reading. Today, we are taking a look at your divine blueprint and unlocking your spiritual purpose. And you selected the second group with the Source Energy card. Group number 2. The first thing that I'm getting here is that you are very, let's say, spiritually awakened. I know that that is kind of a loaded term, depending on the perspective that you're in when you hear this message. Source energy here. You have a very strong connection to Source. You remember your connection to Source. You embody your connection to Source, or you work on it in this lifetime. And also, a big part of your spiritual purpose is to remind others who they are, but I'm also getting you remind others who they are by reminding them who you are. I'm being shown a bit of a vibe of your connection with yourself will mirror your connection with Source, which will also mirror your connection with others. And with this, we kind of have a, I guess, pun intended, holy trinity of energy here. I'm not religious, so please don't take it that way, but it could be a sign for those of you who may be. Okay, this is a general reading. But this is essentially a trine, which is lucky and it's blessed, where as you remember yourself more and more, you remember your true self more and more. Of course, more will awaken, more will enlighten, more will unfold, more will embody of you, through you, by you, which is beautiful. And the way that you love yourself, you learn to treat yourself the way that you would treat the divine if you were face to face with it. And interestingly enough, I'm hearing the song I Can Only Imagine, which is technically Christian, but you can look at it from different perspectives. I don't mean this in a dogmatic way, but it's coming through. Essentially, this is saying, I can only imagine what it will be like when I walk next to your side. And this talks about Jesus or God, and you can use this with universe or source. What will happen when I'm before you? How will I act? Will I cry? Will I kneel? Will I exclaim? Will I be excited? Will I be confused? Will I be in awe? And there's this reminder of, hey, who do you think you are? In a positive way. Like, who do you think you are? Let's be real. Source incarnate as a beautiful being. So, how would you face Source? Face yourself that way. Face your neighbors that way. Face your peers that way. And this is a big part of your spiritual purpose here, because in a lot of ways here, you are simply working on your own spiritual development. And in a lot of ways, you are also learning to love yourself more, maybe setting better boundaries, learning that you deserve love, you deserve achievement, you deserve all of the beautiful, wonderful things that exist in this world that you could want. At the same time, you deserve to be treated well by others, and you deserve others to be treated well by you. And you treating yourself well and maybe not putting up with any BS, because who do you think you are to treat me that way? Right? there's a little bit of a, now I will balance out this energy as soon as I finish saying it, so don't worry. But would you treat Source the way that you're treating me right now? No, you would not. So I don't know who the heck you think you are talking to like that. And then on the flip side, which I promised you I'd hold it down, right? We're balanced here. In that same vein, you connecting with someone else, also Source incarnate, we treat them with love, with beauty, with adoration, with respect as well. And you can see when someone else isn't awakened enough to see who they are. You're awakened enough to see where someone else is on their journey, and also enough not for you to point fingers and walk around and say, this is what you don't understand yet, or see, this is a projection, or you don't like. The spiritual purpose here for you, it is to first bring yourself back to Source, deepen your connection with Source, and then flip that inside out so that you are not on a journey from you to Source. You then are a journey from Source to you. The energy goes up like we do in the beginning of my readings here. Take a deep breath, creating a clear, open channel to what? And then as you bring that energy back down, come into clear knowing of what? Exactly. So let's get into the tarot here, and we're going to take a look at the divine blueprint for you and your spiritual purpose. Divine blueprint for group number 2, Page of Pentacles, ooh, with the Tower. Things are changing. Things are changing around you right now. But I'm also getting almost constantly things are changing around you. And this is because you are making the world around you a better place. Therefore, things must change. With that, the things that you come into contact with, you find that they continue to grow and evolve and shift and change. And you also find that this is interesting. I'm being shown as a blueprint here, a challenge and an opportunity here about, say that you, before you incarnated in this life, or as your true spiritual knowing, right, which becomes more nuanced and grounded as we connect with our human self. In this energy, this true energy of self, you're like, I know who I am, I'm awesome, I'm divine, I'm beautiful, all these wonderful things, right? But it's also giving, like, say, spiritual pretty privilege, if you will. Now, there's also pretty punishment, and people don't talk about that enough. But part of this blueprint is that you shake things up wherever you go. And there's a vibe of, well, do you really love me? Or do you love me because I'm pretty? Or do you love me because I'm spiritual? Or do you love me because I'm psychic? Or do you love me because I have a light that is so bright and can maybe change the world, or can change your life, or might grab attention, whatever it is, might become abundance, right? So there's this vibe of this awareness and this energy being so strong. And so it's almost like this, if I go undercover, if I go incognito, I wonder if I will be loved and appreciated for who I am instead of what others perceive of me. And I'm hearing the song Goddess by Leve, interestingly enough. So there's a little bit of this vibe in your divine blueprint that is saying, from a place of outside of this human body, you know who you are. In an Akashic sense, a past life sense, a spiritual sense, you know who you are, you know who you are, you know who you've been, you understand the relativity of these things as well. But it also, even in this lifetime, presents some sort of a both progression and conflict around you. And part of this divine blueprint is that you realize what balance looks like, meaning that you are a bit too humble. You accept less than what you deserve because you're grateful for, because you genuinely are grateful for even the smallest breadcrumb. And that's not to say that you deserve to be breadcrumbed. And breadcrumb is definitely an interesting choice of words that the divine chose to channel for you today, group 2. This is not about simply accepting crumbs not thinking you deserve the whole cake. This is, you have, you are at peace. You're genuinely at peace in your soul. You are not on a journey of wanting or a journey of growing or a journey of like evolving. It's simply you to source and source to you. It's a clear and open channel, upwards and downwards, period. And so to be alive, it's a miracle. You are happy in your peace, in your quiet, in your meditation, in your solitude. And so when a good friend comes along, you're like, oh my gosh, it's awesome. I love it. I'm so grateful for this precious, precious, precious manifestation of divine's love in my life. How amazing is that? And that is what we mean by accepting breadcrumbs. Because when you are not in that very humble energy, now the divine is the friend of all. It's true. The source energy that you embody, it is the friend of all. But at that same time, it is so grateful for that one friend. It doesn't need more. It doesn't ask for more. And so there's a little bit of a vibe here where the blueprint is consistently underestimating yourself, almost intentionally going incognito, because you're aware that people might come at you for the wrong reasons. And that's not to say it's malicious or intentional, although sometimes it will be. Or maybe people come at you with the right intentions, but they do it the wrong way. Now, what do people often connect with source for? This is so effed. This is so unfair. I don't like this. I want this. Fix it. Help me. Do something for me. I demand it. I whine it. I'm whining about it, right? It's so much, even in the manifestation community, there's a lot of toxicity if you look at it from an actually spiritual perspective. Manifestation is not bad or wrong at all, but there's so much toxicity there, because the universe is not, it's not here to bend itself to your whim. I know it hurts the ego, right? But it's not. In the same way, you are not here to bend yourself to everyone else's whim. And so you will find that sovereignty, people will whine, they will complain, they will demand, they will beg, they will ask. And so you remove that aspect of you, or you make it less obvious. And with that, you find those who are kind-hearted, who are pure. And there's also this vibe of even when you numb it out or dull it out, even when you shrink it or dilute it, you're still going to attract attention, because it's still the core of your being. It's still who and what you are. So it's still inevitable that you will get attention. It is still inevitable that people will come at you weird. It is still inevitable that people will try to bully you. It is still inevitable that people will try to treat you weirdly. It is still inevitable that you will find yourself treating others the way that you would treat the divine, and treating yourself that way, and treating the divine that way, even though they are not in that energy. Because they have not remembered, or they have pretended to forget. If you are standing in all of your power and all of your beauty, it is obvious the way that energies around you will behave. And this is what you're used to. But it begs the question, do people actually love you for who you are? Not just what they see you as. This is where this energy is being kind of equated to pretty privilege. So you might actually be very privileged in a particular way in life. You might be very, very beautiful. You might be, for example, very, very wealthy, or have a very interesting or high social status or something like this. It doesn't need to be the case, but only someone who actually is in that energy can understand that there's also punishment that goes along with it. And it is not all it's chalked up to be. Now, if we equate this to the spiritual energy that's coming through here, your divine blueprint looks a lot like, and we'll get into the spiritual purpose next, the divine purpose looks a lot like someone who is used to being so beautiful. And you say, okay, so I'll change my name. I will move to a new place where no one knows me. I will, quote unquote, let myself go a little bit. Or I'll dress in unflattering clothes or whatever it is. And then I will feel what it's like to really be loved for who I am. Instead of what I look like. Or instead of what I have. Or instead of who I am. Like, socially. And the divine blueprint of your soul is very similar to this. But you find at the same time that it is inevitable that you will shine in this way because it's simply who you are. It's simply the genetic makeup of your soul and also therefore of your body. And also therefore of your other lifetimes. It will always shine through. And so you will find that while this energy will, sure, bring you people who love you, they will still love probably the idea of you. They will still love probably what you can do for them. Or they will still even expect that you owe them something, in the same way that most people turn to the divine when they can't take accountability for themselves, or when they can't be patient, or when they can't figure something out, or when they can't do something, or when they want something. And these are not bad things. Always turn to the divine with everything. It's totally okay to do this. It's also drawing awareness to the fact that you group 2, you turn to the divine not to ask for stuff, not to want stuff, not to whine about stuff. You say thank you. You turn to the divine because you want to get close to the divine. You want to befriend the divine. You want to embody the divine. You want to remember the divine. You want to be grateful for the divine. You want to love the divine. And you want to love yourself. And you want to love those around you. And this is beautiful. And there is privilege and punishment to this. And so this journey is the divine blueprint for you. Now, this is not to say that you don't eventually unfold back into that full glory, that not incognito energy. I see that over the course of time, you do eventually end up coming back into this full glory in this body, in this life, as part of your divine blueprint. Not just in a material, physical, or social way, but rather also in a spiritual way. Because you did not pretend to forget. You did not forget. You had remembered the whole time. But it's difficult to remember in a world that punishes this, dismisses this, or simply chooses to ignore it. And so what we do see is that you eventually realize that, I'm hearing tomato. And you understand that you are who you are no matter what. Again, I'm hearing you can always find your way back home. You can change your hair, you can change your clothes, you can change your mind, it's just the way it goes. You can laugh and cry and everybody knows. You'll always find your way back home. Home being source. And with that, you also remind other people throughout this energy, and this is getting into the spiritual purpose. I'll pull cards on this right now. It's also reminding people, hey, you would not treat source that way, so do not treat me that way. And it might be met with, okay, well, who do you think you are? And the answer is, well, that's not the question. The question is, who do you think that you are? Because you might be severely underestimating yourself. My love. And then it's cat got their tongue. Then it's tail between the legs. Then it's, oh my God, I shouldn't have been talking to you like that. I don't know who I'm so sorry, right? So spiritual, this is a really interesting energy, by the way. Spiritual purpose, ooh. And she did a little twirl on the way down. So this is a lot about having fun and community. It's also a lot about doing what it is that you want to do in this world. I'm being shown like incognito, and I'm being shown things like the Prince and the Pauper, or like Princess Protection Program. It's maybe even like, what is that movie? Like Freaky Friday or Parent Trap. A little less the last two, but it's more of this like, if you could be, it's like if you could be human for a day, what would you do? It's like if you could be if you could be someone else for a day, what would you do? And this is not about not being yourself or not being true to yourself. It's a little bit more about having fun, letting loose, enjoying yourself, but then also knowing within that full power that you actually do embody strength. And so your challenge and your opportunity is essentially holding all of this strength and all of this power and still like using it to thrive, to love your life, to have fun, to enjoy, to do what it is that you want to do, which is get closer to source in all of the ways and allow source to get closer to you and deepen that bond and that enmeshment between the two. And at the same time, the challenge of this is to do this and then still walk life as a human, to hold this energy and still maybe learn how to either not be afraid of intimidating other people with your energy, or no, like that's it. It's to stand in this full power of your energy, in its full power, its full bounty, its full awesomeness, and then also hold that humble, fragile, egoic state of being human at the same time. And it's not about the ego, right? Because I know a lot of people will hold that, run with it, and they go, she said, right? That's not what we're doing. A big piece of this is to hold that power while exploring a human body and a human life. But it's also to hold that power and simultaneously walk that line between, I don't want to intimidate other people, versus being yourself. If it intimidates other people, that is their problem and not yours. And it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's not because who do you think you are. It's because they forgot who they are. And because of this causes you, this whole entire situation, this whole entire energy, what it does for you is it causes you to consistently, continually self-reflect, do the work, grow, evolve, thrive, and also consistently probably deal with BS from other people who refuse to do the same. But you still turn that around, you still self-reflect, you still love, you still grow, you still evolve. And what this does is it even brings you closer and closer and closer to source, which even can exasperate the problem, if you will, because these energies bring you closer to source. And as you get closer to source, your energy becomes stronger and more powerful and therefore more intimidating. And so your spiritual purpose here is to connect with people, and it's also to understand like the softness of the outside with that almost like that strength, that ferocity on the inside. Source is both the softest, kindest, most loving, gentlest energy and the most powerful, firm energy. Like in one, it's source, it's divine. And so we have here your spiritual purpose here to watch others, listen to others. I'm being shown like recording data. I'm being shown like peer-reviewed studies, or I'm being shown like coherent studies, peer-reviewed research. I'm being shown like observing data, learning, watching, listening, all of these things, so that you can understand that what it is that you are embodying, what you are calling in it, so that you can create something of the divine that is human enough to fit in the puzzle of the here and now. It's like you have all of this energy. I'm kind of being shown now, again, if this doesn't resonate with you, it's totally okay. It's just the way that the message is being channeled. So translate it to whatever vibe you're comfortable with. It's like the idea of the starseed energy. There are so many people who are like, I'm not really a human. I'm really an alien. And, I've got a bone to pick with that, but this isn't about that. This is about the energy of, because, okay, my thing is we all have been and will be everything that ever has and ever will exist. That's just physics, and it's also pure spirituality. However, your soul's journey and life experience, that is yours, and that is valid, and it will always be valid. All spiritual experiences are valid. It doesn't mean that they're anchored in unequivocal truth. It doesn't mean that they're not truth. It just, anything you can fathom, there's something greater than. Also, physics, period. But with that being said, okay, take this example, okay? If you are used to incarnating every single lifetime ever as a different kind of being, and then you're human, and you look around and you're like, what the F is this? There's a little bit of this energy that's coming through. So you might resonate with being a starseed. You might resonate with being from a different dimension. You might resonate with mythology or ancient cultures and civilizations, which again, completely, entirely valid. Your journey is your own. But with that being said, there's a little bit of this vibe of looking recording, understanding, listening, and also enjoying the process, and then taking that power that you have within you and then seeing, okay, so how can I use that power and that energy and put it in a relatable package for the human world. It's like, how do you translate the Pleiadian language into English? How do you, when, of course, you might look at different symbols, but what do you mean the sentence structure and the grammar is different? Pleiadian language is not going to have sentence structure and grammar. It's probably not even going to have words. Like, it's not, and I channel I've channeled light code, so I understand how, it works, okay? But, it's very much this vibe of how do you take pure source energy and then translate it into a human. And so for you, your humanity might feel like it's on autopilot a little bit, and then you have these bouts of frustration when you are treated differently, or when you are accepting way less than what you deserve because the world around you tells you that love doesn't deserve to be loved. Love itself doesn't deserve to be loved. Patience doesn't deserve to be had for the thing that's literally working miracles. Excuse me, I want it and I want it now, and I'm a human and I'm telling you, therefore you must obey my demands. The same way that people treat Source, the same way that people treat God. Mine is right, yours is wrong, you have to do what I say, God does what I say, I'm special, I'm chosen, not you. Period. No. And it's not, oh my god, ew, who do you think you are? It's, oh my gosh, my love, you've forgotten who you are. Who do you think you are? You think way too little of yourself. I'm being shown that scene in Doctor Strange, where I can't remember her name, I haven't seen the movie in 10,000 years, but when Doctor Strange first enters I think it's an ashram or a temple or the meditation place, whatever it is, and the lady in charge, she tells Doctor Strange, you think way too little of yourself. And then she pushes his soul, or his astral body, not his soul, there's a difference, the astral body out of his physical body, and he's watching it, having his first out-of-body experience, going, oh my god, what happened? I have 10 fingers, 10 toes, skin, organs, flesh, a brain, a little bit of an electric charge, I live and then I die. And she looks at him and says, you think so little of yourself. You think way too little of yourself. And that's kind of the energy. Your spiritual purpose here is a little bit of this. Now, the way that you would translate this to him must be in a way that he is ready, willing, and able to understand, because he is renowned for being the smartest, the coolest, the best. But then he enters a world where he knows the least. He understands none of it. And he understands that the way that he saw the world was absolutely inside out and backwards. And you, in essence, are walking both of these paths. The essence of almost remembering who you are and then shape-shifting a little bit to fit in, not being inauthentic, just maybe not dressing up all the way, or not saying everything that you know, or it's just this energy of it's not masking at all, actually. It's just withholding your power a little bit because it can come off as intimidating, but there's nothing that you can do that won't make people be able to smell it. And so you kind of find that your spiritual purpose is to watch and listen almost incognito. So you have a learning experience, but it's more for fun in this way. But at the same time, what you do with this information is you create something throughout the course of your life, or you create something, you say something, or you do something throughout the course of your life that takes what it is that you've learned and says, okay, so let me use your language to remind you of who you are. And all throughout this process, you are met with people maybe telling you, hey, I want this, do it for me, now. I demand this. Would you actually talk to Source that way? It's so easy when you make it impersonal, and you just call it the universe. There's the whole entire universe, there's the whole entire multiverse, and so I can do whatever I want, I can have whatever I want, no consequences, woohoo, right? It's so easy to think about it in the third person, but the closer and closer and closer and closer you get, the more intimate that connection gets. I'm not talking about dogma or religion, but the more personal, the closer you are to Source, the more personal your connection is with it. And this is part of your path. part of your spiritual purpose. And it's also to remind others of theirs as well. And so you're able to say, let me translate this into your language for you. Because something that seems so abstract, well, eventually it gets closer and closer and closer and closer until it turns into the very I that you correspond to yourself as. And if you're not there yet, you are not there yet, and that is okay. Because from there, you release the I and it turns back into an am. But the am is an embodiment. It does not come before realizing the I of the statement. You cannot bypass either. But you can continue to hold it at an arm's length so that you can say, I want this and I want it now. I don't like this, fix it. But would you really, the absolute most precious, most divine, most beautiful, most intimate, most beautiful relationship, person, connection, energy that you've ever met in all of your incarnations, ever combined, put together, all in front of your face, would you look them dead in the eyes and not be patient with them and whine with them? No. No. You wouldn't. And you learn you don't treat yourself like that, and you don't treat others like that. And you also teach others, hey, you don't treat me like that. And it's, who do you think you are? No. You've forgotten who you are. There's very much the energy here of someone who is, let's say, incarnated with pure power and none of the ego. And so when faced with ego disguised as power, there's almost always a conflict that's almost never relevant. Because people are given to you as their gift. And your gift is the opportunity to experience telling the same story in a new language, in a new way, from a new perspective, from a new angle. Whether it's Mercury or Thoth or Hermes, whether it's astrology or tarot or runes, at the end of the day, we're telling the same story, but in a different language, to a different people, at a different time, for a different reason. And you awaken the story within others. And you get to walk it. All while remembering that you're walking it. How beautiful. How unique. Or is it? Group number 2, this is your divine blueprint, unlocking your spiritual purpose. I hope this helped shed love, light, and clarity for you. So like, comment, and subscribe. If you would like to join my meditation retreat, it's the first link in the description box below. Take advantage of that resource. You have access to it forever, so the sooner the better when it comes to accessing that. If you would like to work with me one-on-one, you are more than welcome to. Those are on Etsy. At Spiritualistik, I have a whole spiritual shop featuring books that I've written, among other things. For example, my guided self-exploration journal. It's a big journal that I made for doing your shadow work with guided journal prompts. It's a really beautiful experience. Also dream journals, intention journals, things like this. I've got crystals that I've hand wrapped, candles that I've decorated. I've got all kinds of things up there, all that I've made myself. Of course, my spiritual planner for 2026, it's got all of the transits and everything. Speaking of transits, don't forget to check out my horoscopes that I've been posting weekly. That's new this year, so if you haven't checked it out yet, don't forget to do so. And of course, I post exclusive content on Patreon, on my YouTube members channel here, and on TikTok as well. So if you're not subscribed to those and it interests you, you're more than welcome. I've got a book club as well on Patreon if you want to check it out. And I also post on TikTok and Instagram. And I'm at Spiritualistik across the board, so you can find me everywhere there. If you find a profile, because I have a ton of scammers and you're not really sure if it's me or not, the links to my actual things are here in my YouTube description box, and they're also on my Instagram. I unfortunately am paying for the verified page for that, so that you can always trace me back to the source, because I'm not verified on TikTok yet, and it's going to take like a trillion years before I get it on YouTube at this rate. So
just know that in my description box and on my Instagram, you can find it if you're ever unsure if it's me. I will not reach out to you. I will not scam you. I will not ask you for your zodiac sign so I can give you a tarot reading. Okay, just things like that to look out for. Me and so many of my other beautiful, wonderful coworkers, peers that I know, that I do not know, experience the same thing. So just always be aware. For me and others, if you watch our ads or let them run in the background, that is how we get paid on YouTube, unfortunately, but fortunately, so you have that information. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share if with a friend you think might like this. And I will see you next time. Thanks for being here. Namaste.
Hi there, Group 3. Namaste and welcome to your reading. Today we're taking a look at your divine blueprint and unlocking your spiritual purpose. You selected the third group with the lead by example card. Group number 3. I'm really strongly getting an energy here of you being some sort of a spiritual teacher or guide. You might resonate with being a light worker, a grid worker. You might be a Reiki healer, a Reiki master, a Reiki practitioner, yoga teacher. This is definitely something where you are helping people grow into a better version of themselves, but it's a little bit less self-help, perhaps, and a little bit more, again, lead by example. A little bit more of here is a flow to open up your sacral chakra, or here is a mantra to align this energy or this vision or this deity. It can be something of here is what this energy feels like, to hold it and move forward, or this is what that higher perspective looks like. You hold it for others. Like, it's definitely you hold some sort of example, clearly. This is the card that you chose, and it's the energy that's coming out as well. And I'm being shown two things very strongly, an elephant and a penguin. I'm also being shown a giraffe and a cow and a seagull. I don't know why these animals are coming through, but for some of you, you might. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't, because I think that there will be more people in this pile than the other two. What I'm getting here is that you are very much aware of... I'm being shown the philosophy, life is like a video game, a little bit, where you have the awareness of what's going on, and you can look at it in different levels, different areas of the map. It's like an open world game, except you can also choose if you want to go on missions. The entire game, it's not one mission, otherwise there wouldn't be, there are missions within it. So this might be, your incarnation journey, it's this mission, and then this mission, and then this mission. But for you, you might be leading other people through this. So you might not necessarily feel that you have, besides leading people by example or teaching or healing, you might not feel like you have one particular mission. Like, you might not necessarily feel that hero complex or that savior complex. You might not necessarily feel like you are here to learn one big lesson. You might be aware that you're here more so to be a good example or help others heal and grow, and this might be your mission. It's a little bit more, for some people, say that every single level of a video game is a different mission. And this is just what I'm being shown. I'm just spitballing here, I'm channeling. If every single level is a different mission, when you get to a certain level, then it becomes an open world game, and you can choose to do missions if you want to, and then you can do missions with other people, and you can lead them, you can do group activities, you can do them alone, you can choose what mission you want and what difficulty it is and when you want to do it. Because it's an open world game, you also don't need to subscribe to the missions thing. You can wander around, you can have fun, do your little thing, explore a bit. And through that, it's also this energy of others can see in some way that you got to a certain level. Maybe they can see the level you're at, or the amount of stars or whatever XP or something that you have, or a certain armor you're wearing. I don't know too much about video games. This is just how it's coming through. And so they're able to see, okay, you have an abundance of something, an abundance of experience, an abundance of knowledge, an abundance of secrets, an abundance of cheat codes, an abundance of something here that is enough to make people want to stop and ask you, hey, will you lead me on this mission? Or just stop and say, hey, can you show me how to get from here to here? Or, hey, how did you do that? Or what does it look like when you play so that I can learn from this? So there's definitely this energy here of you leading by example.
Now we're going to get into the divine blueprint, and then we'll get into the spiritual purpose, and I'm hearing immediately parentified child. So with this might indicate that perhaps you had some sort of situation in your life where you needed to grow up really, really early. Maybe you were just out of the womb, you are mature, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, right? That's not very physiologically accurate, but it can be as a soul. It can be if life situations set us up for that. So take the examples again relatively, because this is a group reading. But there's definitely this vibe here of you needing to grow up and mature really early on. And this is both a blessing and a curse. And with that, it also puts you in a position where even the adults in your life would have looked up to you, or would have asked you for help, or asked you for advice, or had you take down responsibility that wasn't yours, or hold down the house, or something like this, emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, you name it. It can also be for a few of you, maybe you were incarnated as prodigies in a particular craft, in a particular, maybe some of you have always had healing hands, or you've always had prophetic dreams, or you've always been a psychic. Others of you might have been very gifted at languages. You might have remembered past lives. For some of you, maybe you're very good at math or certain artistic pursuits. There's definitely this anomaly energy about you here, where from a young age, you in some way outperform the adults around you. And so as you grow, you feel that you are less and less fitting in with the people around you. And then there's a certain point where these roles reverse, where like parentified children, for example, they need to take responsibility for the house. Their needs are ignored, specifically emotionally. And then after a certain point, they are put into, a parentified role of their parent, where their needs were ignored, but then they become the caretaker and responsible person for their parents' needs emotionally again. So there's an expectation of them that was never taught to them in some way, shape, or form. And so it might have manifested in this way, but it might also manifest in other ways. For example, say that you are born with very strong spiritual gifts and abilities. Nobody taught you this, you just have had it. Maybe you were born being able to understand different languages and you didn't learn them. It's mysterious. Maybe you were born and you remembered other lifetimes of yours, and it seems that you had the names, the date, the time, the place. There's no way you could have known these things, and you have information and it fully tracks. There's something about you, you have information that needed to have come from within. It could not have come from outside of you. It was not something that was given to you or taught to you. It's not something where you had an example. Now you are an example. In some way, this is a strength of yours. That doesn't mean it was always comfortable or fun. It doesn't mean that it is comfortable or fun. But I'm very much, again, being shown this. You're at an open world level of video game, and you can go choose to partake in missions, and you can go choose to partake other people with missions if you want to. But these other energies, they must be where they are. And it's not really the case like this for you. But I'm getting that you do stick with your own. So if you choose to go to like the level 3 mission with people there, then you will stick it out with them and you will help them figure it out. You will help them solve the Rubik's Cube, solve the puzzle, finish the mission, even if it's not a requirement for you. And I'm getting a lot of times it is known that you don't need to be there, and sometimes it's not. So let's see what's going on here with the divine blueprint for you, group number 3. Read by example. Queen of Cups. Okay. So there's a vibe of you having a lot of emotional maturity and learning to express your emotions to yourself and to others. I'm also getting you learn a lot by picking up energies. So it's important for you to be around a diversity of energies. So it's important for you maybe to travel throughout your life. It's important for you to learn different languages throughout your life. It's important for you to remember past lives throughout your life. It's important for you to experience like all of the missions throughout your life, because you're outside of it. Like if you cannot be it's a good example. Like you cannot be a, I guess, polyglot if you don't learn several languages. You will need to learn linguistics as well in order to really pull this off, right? You cannot be a master craftsman, not a master painter or a master crocheter, but a master craftsman if you do not learn a few different art forms. You cannot be a like you cannot have a global perspective if you have not seen or interacted with different cultures or people or languages or places from around the globe. So there's very much this energy here of globalization, or just all-encompassing energy. It's very holistic in the truest sense of the form, or truest sense of the word. Like holistic energy work or medicine, for example, it looks at the mind and the body and the emotions and the spirit as one system, and then we're able to treat it as such, as opposed to putting a band-aid on it or looking at one isolated incident, because it can create ripple effects in other ways. So looking at something from a holistic perspective, looking at it from the higher perspective, again, it allows you to lead by example. Okay, so this divine blueprint here, it indicates that you will travel a lot, or you will learn a lot of languages, or you will meet a lot of really interesting different people and have a lot of really interesting different experiences. I'm kind of being shown a blueprint here where your life is collected of the experiences that most people do not get, or do not know to get, or do not care to get. It's like you live a life that is very different from everyone else. And this is not necessarily like just a nonconformist kind of attitude. It's a little bit more of you represent, in a sense, you represent the underdog, in the fact that with this leading by example energy, it's like you stand out, you move differently, you are at a different level, so you act as though you've been on other levels. And so because you know the secret of X, Y, and Z, it allows you to frolic through A, B, and C without any worry, because you already know what would be learned after that. So you are not maybe interested in the same things as those around you, because you've already learned about it, or learned through it, or you've already learned better than it, or you've already experienced it in some way, shape, or form. There's just this energy of this. You collect experiences that others don't have. In a way, you represent the negative space of humanity, or of Earth, or of something like this. So it might be that you're an energy worker. It might be that you are into like subliminal healing. It might be that you are into holistic healing. It might be that you could be considered counterculture to wherever you live. It doesn't need to be so definitive like this, but it's because you lead by example. You see beyond the veil. You see what is less common for people to see. Things that people spend their whole life having one goal. You've done it a long time ago. And it's not about doing the most. It's a little bit more, again, about taking accountability, leading by example, just from a very young age. Again, this is something where you will be born with something, a knack for something that that cannot be taught from outside of you, or was not taught from outside of you. And this is a spiritual gift of yours. Now, this divine blueprint, it looks like you having a lot of experiences and a lot of feelings about it and a lot of depth. It almost feels like in the beginning of your life, you are fully embodied, and you go explore a lot of things and feel all these emotions about it. And because this is, in essence, and for lack of a better term, counterculture in some way, shape, or form, you learn to, okay, maybe hold it down a little bit. Not refrain, not shrink, not dilute, but maybe say, okay, well, there's a reason why everyone does something, and that doesn't mean that I need to do it, but it's like everyone agrees that the sky is blue because most likely the sky is blue. It's I just said most likely the sky is blue. No, but it's like everybody agrees that the sky is blue because, well, the sky is blue. But if everybody agrees that I don't know, on something else that's a little bit more of an opinion, like there's a reason to think for yourself. Obviously, you don't want to just go with the crowd, but sometimes when everyone agrees on something, it's usually because there's something to it, right? Like everybody, everyone wants to see, for example, the Northern Lights. That's a great example, right? And I mean, not every single person on the world, but there's a reason why people want to see that, right? So if you just don't want to go see it because everybody else wants to see it, then sure, you're thinking for yourself, but it might be a little bit just rebellious. But if there's also that aspect to this where, well, there's a reason why everyone wants to see it, because it is genuinely awe-striking. It's phenomenal. It's crazy. There are no words, really. There's a reason why everyone wants to see it. So there's a little bit of this acknowledgement of this. And as your life progresses, you collect all of these really cool experiences. You have this emotional depth that is challenged in some way. You have this intuition, this emotional depth, all of these gifts. You have this exemplary mind, body, spirit, behavior, etc. And in some way, you explore locking it down because you want to have all the experiences, or you're called to maybe live a little bit of everywhere, or speak a little bit of all the languages, or you're called to feel like you've lived 1,000 different lifetimes in this life. And it's simply because you want to live this life. It's less about maybe novelty and more about experience, right? And so you take baby steps to ground this, but then it turns out that in some way the stability ends up being something that shows you why you're so spectacular in the first place. And you look back at this embodiment that you had in the beginning of your life, and you understand that not only are you meant to do both, but also that there's this like secret other third option that's also really cool and really divine and really beautiful for you that needed to have been experienced in that needs to like come into fruition or come into knowing by you in experiencing the yin and the yang, in experiencing the left and the right, in experiencing for example, the free spirit life and also the stable life. So this in some way, shape, or form helps you to remind you of your soul mission, because there's a little bit of this, okay, when you lead by example, then your experience is that of a leader. So you have this, for example, open world game, and you are teaching other people to go through the missions. You're leading other people on missions. And then, so after a while, you are not exploring the open world game anymore. You are not having fun on your own accord. You are just helping other people out through little missions. And because you're helping other people out through missions, that is not embodying the open world game that you have access to because you deserve it, and that's genuinely where you are at. It's in it, but it's not the whole story here. And so there's this other third option that comes through because you get to experience one and then you get to experience the other, and then you learn, okay, well, I don't want to simply go out and play and not do missions, but when I do missions, I will inevitably be leading by example because I've already gone through all the levels, but I still want to play this video game. Or is there a secret third option? And that's what's coming through in the divine blueprint here. And this is part of a soul contract. This is something that once you find it, you stick to it. You find it and you stick to it. It ends up being fulfilling for you across a myriad of ways, across things that fulfill the version of you that leads by example and the version of you that maybe gets taken care of too. It fulfills the version of you that was fully embodied as a child and the version of you that's maybe hanging out in the open world section. It's the version of you that is seeing everything, and then also the version of you that is held down, grounded, stable. So there's something here that comes through and it really scratches all of those itches, and it's part of your soul contract, but it needs experience in a little bit of everything first. A little bit of everything, and that includes a little bit of nothing. So I'm just getting that coming through as well. And so then it opens and it blossoms because like every single petal of the flower has been accounted for. It is now ready to blossom. Okay. So spiritual purpose here for you. Ten of Swords came out in an interesting perspective. You are still learning to detach and let go. Okay. Some things are worth letting go of and some things are not, because life is beautiful and life is short, and as long as we are in this body, we are somewhat attached because we're in this body, therefore we're attached to the body. Okay. That just ideology is coming through here, because the Ten of Swords came out in an interesting position here where you're learning to let go of certain energies or certain outcomes or certain desires for your life or desires for yourself, things that you want, in order to actually fully embody that fullness of self again. And as you're doing that, you actually come into this abundance where you get all of the things that you want. But as you come into the things that you want, it needs to be without the true desire for it. For example, say that you really, 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 really want a cat. And everywhere that you look, you cannot find a cat. And then when you find cats, you cannot afford a cat, or you don't have space to take one in. And then you do have the time and you do have the space and you do have the money, and it looks like it's not going anywhere. And then you can't find a cat anywhere. And after a while, you're like, you know what? Clearly it's not for me, or clearly it's not working out. So you just kind of surrender it. You don't give up, but you detach from it. You release it. You let it go. And then you're walking down the road a little bit, thinking about something totally different from that. You are living a totally irrelevant life to that experience, and then boom, cat, silver platter. You're like, okay. So there's a little bit of this energy that's happening here. It's a bit of happenstance, but you are learning to detach a bit more from certain things and coming into abundance. Now, I'm seeing this, again, stark duality here between lack and abundance that's coming through for your soul, your spiritual purpose. And with that, there's definitely this vibe of who is with you and who's not. What comes with you when you, at the end of the day, and what comes with you when you, at the end of the day in a like 24-hour kind of way, and at the end of the day in a theoretical perspective, and at the end of the day in like a lifetime perspective. So what can you take with you when you really, really leave this life? Okay, what will stick with you throughout the course of your life? When you look back, what will really matter? In 10 years, will you remember that hiccup that you had with that random person? No, probably not, right? And then also at the end of the literal day, who is there? Who loves you? Who is showing up for you consistently, right? There's a little bit of this vibe, and it does come back to, well, you and spirituality. It's always there. So we have this lack, we have this abundance, and at the end of the day, there's this vibe of wherever you go, whatever you have, you are still there with you. You can change your name, you can move to a new place, you can surround yourself with new people, but guess what? Anywhere you go, there you are, right? You can have all of the money in the whole entire world, and you can have absolutely no money at all whatsoever. And regardless of that, you will still be you. And things like money, things like time, things like support, they do not change who you are. They reveal who you are. They give you time, money, resources, freedom, allowance to be yourself louder. And so what this is here is, if you are, say, all of the colors, if you are yes, no, and everything in between, if you are levels 1 through 10, and if you're levels 1 through 10, the negative space between, and some secret third option, then there's a little bit of this, okay, so that journey of who you are and what you want really, 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 really matters. So we're coming into this detachment before you get what you want. It's almost like training a little bit. You detach and then you get what you want. You detach and then you get what you want. But the thing is, it's got to be genuine. You can't just like gaslight yourself into, I'm detached, therefore I will get it, ha 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 ha, right? No, it's not like that. I know we wish that it was, and sometimes that works, but it depends on but not if you are in this energy, not if this is your spiritual purpose. That doesn't work. It needs to be genuine. It can't be manufactured. And so we do have that you end up with a lot of this abundance, but you end up keeping it to yourself. And this is a surprising, again, I'm getting part of the surprising third option. You have this abundance and you keep it to yourself, and you begin to build something that is a part of a dream. It's a part of a dream that you are not the only one that has it, but you're the only one that speaks on it, or you're the only one that sees it as a possibility. It's like you receive some sort of resource, but you are the only one, say, I'm being shown dramatic examples that are beautiful, though. It's like you're the only one at the UN meeting that speaks every single language of every single person there. Therefore, you're able to understand the context and the culture and the nuance, and you're able to genuinely come up with an option that fits everything. Even if they all speak one common language, still there will be nuances that don't make the translation. And so because of this, you have this multifold perspective. And so it's allowing you to, you keep that which you grow, because at the end of the day, you are the one who worked for it. And this is the surprising part of your spiritual purpose, because you are a giver, you're an experiencer. You have this whole part of your mission that you're in right now that is a lot of helping other people with their mission. You're leading by example. Therefore, what is the best thing that you can invest in, not just for yourself, but also for everybody else? If you lead by example, the best thing you can invest in is yourself. And so part of your spiritual purpose here is, self-love. And you will hear this everywhere all the time, to the point where it frustrates you, because you're like, I do love myself. I love myself so much. How can I love myself even more? I love myself so much. I love myself, and I would like to date someone. I love myself, and I would like to finally get the money. I love myself, and I would like to have that fulfilling job. I love myself, and I want to have this problem solved. I love myself, and I want to be in alignment with all those things. And you also know energetically you are in alignment with all of those things, and you have been. And so this is where this, okay, how do I love myself deeper? How do I love myself deeper? What is the divine timing? I don't get it. Maybe you understand it. Maybe you come into peace with it. You come to terms with it. But at the end of the day, genuinely, what would you do with that blank when you have it? It changes depending on whether you are in lack or abundance. And the correct answer here is not caring if you have it. The correct answer here, and I say correct very lightly, okay? It's investing in yourself. It's giving it to yourself. It's almost indulging in yourself in a way that feels almost, I want to say anti-spiritual, even though it is spiritual. Because your spiritual purpose here is to build something that is idyllic. Like, I'm literally being shown that UN example. I'm being shown Martin Luther King saying, I have a dream. That kind of dream that is built, that is huge. It's not just a dream that he has. Sure, it is, but he also shares that, and he's able to build that. He's able to take steps in order to ground and build something that is a common dream that many people have, that many people at certain states in time are not going to think are feasible or possible or worth it. And that does not mean that it's not a hope. That doesn't mean that it's not a dream. And so there's something here where you, your spiritual purpose here, it is to invest in yourself. It's to experience literally everything under the sun, all while leading by example. Huge responsibility here. And so with that responsibility, you learn to let go, and that's where you are. You're learning to let go of not the action, but all of the stuff that you've collected as you are taking on this responsibility, having been the one that has gone through absolutely everything and seen everything good and bad and in between under the sun. And that's when this magical third option comes through. You learn to release it. You learn to release all of the clutter, the mental and emotional clutter, the energetic clutter, while maintaining that responsibility, but it becomes lighter. And as it becomes lighter, then you attract more things and you become more abundant, and you look around, who's been with you? You. And also you invest that into yourself and into your spirituality. And as you do that, it allows you to continue to grow, and it allows you to start to build a new, I'm hearing like a new earth, a new legacy, a new world, a new something that is not only fun, and it also, again, scratches the itches of all of the different things, but it's also something that is blessed. It's very, very blessed for you and also for others. But you're not doing it for others. You're doing it because it's something that you want to do, that you like to do, because investing in yourself is something that's positive for other people. But it's not something that's inherently selfish. Which is why giving yourself permission to be selfish as you start this, or as you build this, or as you step into this direction is exactly what the doctor ordered, because this is something where you lead by example. Only you can do it. Therefore, you need to be well taken care of. It needs to be exactly according to your plan, instead of sacrificing that to others, because something will get lost in translation if anyone but you does it. And that's why it needs to be done for you. Leading by example. The leader, someone needs to take really good care of the leader if they're a good leader. That way they can continue to show up and do their job well. And so as you release all of the clutter, mental, emotional, energetic clutter that comes with being a leader, that comes with taking on all that responsibility, that comes with being maybe parentified, or being extraordinarily evolved, or being someone who's got to show up and put the work in, and you experience the lack, you experience the abundance, to the point where energetically you're already in alignment. It's more of a nuance, it's more of a formality, the way that your life looks, than it is a reflection of who you are internally. And that can be frustrating, because that's not the way that it works for everybody. Certainly is not. But your spiritual purpose here, it is to build something new, but it's you. It's through you. It's by you. It's by you and it's through you. And with this, it's like this secret other third thing. You want to be a free spirit, and you also want to have that nice steady foundation. It's like, it's giving Sagittarius and Capricorn. Now, these are next to each other. So they're not the best of friends, but they're very similar to each other. But one wants to see the whole world. Of course, I'm generalizing. And the other wants to like hold it down, right? But they do have so much in common too. But they're next to each other, so there's a little bit of friction. And through that friction is where innovation comes. And through that innovation comes growth. With all of those petals locked into place, now that flower can fully blossom, and that flower is you. Which is why it's important to water your plant and fertilize your soil. That's why it's important for you to take care of your garden. Be grateful when it rains, and be grateful when it's sunny. Because the dream or the vision that you end up manifesting, it revitalizes. I'm hearing revitalizes the land, revitalizes the soil. It creates a new earth, a new paradigm, a new opportunity, a new abundance, a new something. It's something that's blessed. And it's also something where you live the rest of your life in a very, 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 like, almost lucky, synchronistic, effortless, like, la-di-da-di-da-di-da, like really just beautiful and lucky, and it's just very, very smooth and flowing. But the thing is that this energy is so big and so beautiful, right? That in the beginning, you have this clarity, you have the embodiment, you have the traits, but you have this really heavy, thing to push, or this heavy thing to lift. And in you getting strong enough that this thing is no longer heavy, then you can move it. Once that thing has been moved, then it's like the particles dissociate, because you go from being weaker than the thing to being stronger than the thing, and then you learn both sides of it. So then that paradigm neutralizes, and because that whole thing dissolves, now you're like, wait, why did I do that? There's a story here, there's something here, and then you unfold it, you learn what it is, and it's not a mission. It's not a mission. It's not a free-for-all. It's like this secret other third thing that exists in your soul, in the essence of your soul. And I'm being shown Achilles' heel and par fortuna. And it's something that you've always, in some way, shape, or form, you've held the energy for, or you saw a symbol of it. I'm being shown a gold thread, like Rumpelstiltskin. I'm also being shown the golden compass. And so, group 3, this is your divine blueprint and spiritual purpose. This shed love, light, and clarity for you. So like, comment, and subscribe. Share if you think someone else would like it. With that being said, you can book a personal with me on Etsy. I have a whole spiritual shop there. All my info's in the description box. So if you want to check out the hundreds of exclusive readings I have on Patreon or on my YouTube members channel, those are in the description box as well. You can also follow me on TikTok, where I post a lot of collective readings, or on Instagram too. Don't forget to follow me across platforms. Subscribe here to my YouTube. You can check out my exclusive content on TikTok, Patreon, and YouTube. I've got a little book club going on, and if you'd like to meditate with me, that's the first link in the description box below. You can join my meditation retreat. I highly recommend it. You have access to it forever, so it doesn't go anywhere, and it's definitely something that will help you along this journey. So I love you. I'm grateful for you. Have an amazing day, week, month, year, incarnation, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.